So in this video, I'm just going to break down the checklist here for your assignment. Okay, I put a bit of effort into making this quite clear for you guys, underlining each of the really important parts of each of the sections of the assignment, and you should just be able to go through this and use it as a literal checklist to tick off and say, yes, I think I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. If you go through and you do that for each section of your assignment, to go along with all the videos that I've made explaining each point, then you should all be in good stead for where you are sitting with regards to your assignment. So the first thing is your title. That is just, I don't need to overthink that one, just relevant to your claim and research question, whatever you want to go with that. Okay, the first thing that will appear on your assignment when you write it is the rationale. Okay, we'd write this last, but it's the first thing that'll appear. Okay, now I've tried to add in an approximation of words for each of these, but that because I had a couple, have been bombarded with questions from a couple of you guys saying, how many words for each of these. It's an approximation. If it's below or above, look, I'm not necessarily saying this is right or wrong, and by no means is there marks allocated to each point if it's within the word range. Okay, the marks are between, has nothing to do with word range, and I didn't really want to include this, but it's a good way of at least having an idea in your brain of the size of these approximately. Okay, so your rationale here, obviously with your rationale, it's the section of the assignment which we state the research question, we break down the key parts, sorry, we state the claim, we break down the key parts of that claim, we state our initial research question, we do further research, we state what that research is, and then we get to we physically say, and in the assignment, we're going to be answering and looking at this research question, and we write it down. Okay, so your rationale is showing that thought process to the reader of, this is the claim, this is the key information, and this is the research question that we are going with to investigate this claim. Essentially saying this question here is a subsection, a part of this claim in some way. So if we answer this research question, in turn, we are answering this claim. And your rationale is an overview to show how we got to this very refined research question from this claim and what research we did to get from here to here. That's your rationale in a nutshell. The next thing is your background information. Okay, now your background information is just the general information required to understand before moving forward. Okay, the foundation knowledge that's necessary for the reader to understand the research. So you're breaking down the key points of the research question is the major thing here. So in here, the rationale, you kind of broke down the key information of your claim. So the key information of the very broad thing, like human evolution, genetic modified organisms, the very broad concept here in your rationale. Your background information is you're breaking down, providing all the key information needed to know about the research question. So about the information of the foundation knowledge of each of the key aspects within the research question, whatever you're looking at refined. Okay, and that's your background information. All right. The next part is your evidence. Your evidence is where you provide context to where you found this evidence, what this evidence actually is. How many, why are we looking at this evidence? What's how many people are in this study? What is the study about? Okay, and we attach we put all the evidence in this section, okay, as a figure, a table, or an appendix, okay, and we describe it. We break it down on its relationships, patterns, okay, and what exactly that data is telling us. It can be seen in the data that blah blah blah, insert your information there. Okay, and then we link it back to the research question. So this is essentially just breaking down, saying, boom, here's your evidence, this is what it means. This is all the information about that piece of evidence. Breaking down that specific piece of evidence. What is it? What does it mean? What does it tell me? Okay, everything about the evidence. Okay, the next thing is the evaluation, which is very important. And in the last video they made about the evaluation, I broke it down into three main sections for you to make it easier for you guys to think about it. The first section is you're talking about the limitations of the evidence. So the reliability and the validity of the evidence. Okay, were there more than one sources? What were the population sizes like? What are there any limitations to these studies? Okay, did they use fair testing and correct use of variables, etc.? So is the data valid that way? Okay, was there a purpose, a motive behind the testing, or is anything not there or silenced for any reason? Okay, is there foul play going on? Okay, what other ways could there be possible interpretations or reasons for the outcomes of this data? Is there anything else that are going into giving us this evidence for somehow? Okay, and how do these limitations affect your ability to evaluate the claim? So, the limitations of the evidence, major section. Next major section in the middle here. Answer your research question. What's the relationship between the research question and your claim? And state how the specific evidence and that specific research you have done assisted in answering the overall claim. Justify it and link it all together. So how is this research that I have found and this graph and this information that I have, how is that answering my overall claim and how is that answering my research question? So the way that you do it is, this is the research, how has this research answered my research question? Either yes or no, or however your research question is worded, and then in turn, how has that then answered my entire claim on top of it? Okay, so you just essentially, this is a very key important part of the assignment, because you are essentially coming down to an answer after looking at all of your evidence. Okay, and the last part of the evaluation is what was not there, what was missing from this research, and what studies, experiments, and data would have helped you with your assessment with assessing the claim. Okay, what are some investigations that could be carried out to better assess this claim? This is the original claim from the top here. Okay, so what was missing? If I wasn't able to get a solid answer, yes or no, or a solid thing to accept or reject my claim, and if it was inconclusive because of either A, these limitations, or B, just not enough information there to support this very large claim, okay, then what investigations could be carried out for us to answer it? Because if you weren't able to do it, which is fine, you're allowed to be like, hey, look, I've done a bunch of research, and this is the research that I've done, but I think that we can't evaluate this. The claim was inconclusive. Being able to evaluate this evidence, to evaluate the claim, it was inconclusive because there wasn't enough. It was unreliable. Anything like that. Well, what could we have done to better assess this claim? Or consequently, even if you did find a direct relationship there, and even if you did say yes, it's confirmed, and the research question is confirmed, and the claim is confirmed to be correct and true, you can still say, well, what other stuff could there be out there that tests and experiments and data to even better cement that claim as true fact? Okay, so that's the last bit of your evaluation there. Okay, and the last bit of your assignment is your conclusion, and that is no new information is put here. Okay, it is just a coherent, concise summary of the outcome of your assignment. So you look back over your evaluation, look back over your evidence, okay, and your rationale, and you say, well, what did I actually find? Did the evidence support my claim? Yes or no? Justify. Did the evidence confirm my research question, reject my research question, or was it inconclusive? Explain. And what other research would have assisted you in arriving at a solid conclusion? Okay, so a basic summary of what we talked about here in the evaluation of the evidence. Clean, concise, boom, boom, boom. Support of the claim, yes or no. Support of the research question, yes or no. What other stuff do we needed? Did we need to get an answer? You're essentially providing an answer to that claim and to that research question. Provide the answer. Okay, a culmination of your assignment. Okay, we looked at this claim. I did this research. Okay, I found this evidence. I evaluated this evidence, and this is what I think. Boom, right here. It supported it. It doesn't support it. Yes or no, etc., etc. Okay, reject or confirm, or it's inconclusive. Okay, and again, it's allowed to be inconclusive. I feel a lot of you are like, oh, but I have to be. A lot of you think, if it's not confirmed, and if I don't argue yes to this claim, I'm going to get a bad mark. I think you're all try to really try to make sure that you are confirming this claim. It doesn't have to be that. You can confirm it, you can completely reject it, or you can just say, well, look, there's just not it's too broad. There's not enough information here. It's inconclusive, and or the evidence was, you know, the evidence had too many limitations, or whatever you want to say, and you can happily say inconclusive. We need this to get better results. Okay, and you're just concluding your assignment like that. Remember, in-text referencing is extremely important. You need at least 10 sources, okay, throughout your assignment. Okay, APA referencing and in-text references throughout. I need at least 10 because you'll have a bunch in your rationale defining the key elements and your further research. You'll have a bunch in your background information defining all the key parts of your research question. Okay, you'll have some here when you're talking about the context of the evidence. Okay, and you might even have some in the evaluation. Okay, but most of this will be you breaking it down and evaluating. Okay, but you need at least 10 sources. All right, and this is the how it's set out: title, rationale, background information, evidence, evaluation, conclusion. Use this. Go off the underlined words. Okay, this is what I've tried to make this clear for you of what you need to do in each section. I provided an approximate word count, but again, don't go off this word count. It's just an approximation. It really means nothing in terms of getting the grades. It's all based on how you actually write it. It's just there as an approximation. Essentially, all I've done is I've taken the A-level standard and looked at how many words they've used and put it across. But yeah, use this. Hopefully this helps you have a better idea of the overview of your assignment, what you actually need to do. You'll see here on the exemplar. I believe this is the exemplar. This is the exemplar here. This is how it's set out, okay, with regards to your rationale. So you have the big heading and the work, okay, background, the big heading and your work, evidence, your work. They've chucked the evidence in tables, evaluation, and conclusion. So they've got the big bold headings, okay, and the work underneath, okay. Exactly the same here as what you'll have in your assignment. So yeah, thanks guys, and